Hi there. I've been thinking. Do you remember back in 2012 when it was all over the news that the world was going to end? According to some, the Mayan calendar predicted the end of the world on Friday, the 21st of December 2012. Oh well, I guess I didn't need to mow the lawn then. Of course, those in the know assured us that the Mayan calendar predicted no such thing. But anyway, even if it did, why would we give it a second thought? What is this strange obsession that some people have with doomsday prophecies? Why do people, far from being terrified by them, actually appear to delight in them? I have in the past mingled with wacky, apocalyptic types of Christians. It doesn't take much to set them off into rapturous expressions of joy that the return of Christ is imminent. Rapture about the rapture, if you like. Whenever there's some catastrophic world event, and when isn't there, and particularly when things are hotting up in the Middle East, and whenever isn't it, these apocalyptic types of Christians will always be ready with their announcement that Christ is returning soon, that the rapture is upon us. You kind of almost have to admire their resilience in the face of the number of times it simply failed to eventuate. I mean, for 2,000 years, people have been pronouncing that Jesus' return is imminent. It never happens. And yet, these people, every time something new happens, every time, every single time, they're back again with their joy that the end of the world is near. I suppose you could admire it, or is it really a kind of pathology? I'm not sure. Even people without any obvious religious convictions appear to be, on the one hand, extremely gullible when it comes to ancient or modern apocalyptic ravings, while on the other hand, they seem almost perversely eager to see the end of the world. Now, I'm under no illusions that either the human world or the natural world is some kind of paradise or utopia. Both can be very dangerous. I'm also under no illusion that life is easy. I've suffered at several periods in my life from quite severe depression. As Annie Lennox once wrote and sang, dying is easy, it's living that scares me to death. Even so, I've never particularly looked forward to death, and I've never sought to escape life by ending myself or wanting to take the world down with me. What I have wanted at those terrible times was to be happy, not to be dead. Perhaps it helps that I don't actually believe in any life beyond this one. This is it. This is what we've got to work with, and I'm going to do the best that I can. This world is both a wonderful and a terrible place. Human beings are capable of committing the greatest cruelties and atrocities, and of showing the most amazing love and creating the most astonishing beauty. Sometimes the same person is capable of both. Perhaps all of us are. Of course, there are problems in the world. Often they seem insurmountable. But I sometimes wonder, do these apocalyptic calamities that seem to capture the human imagination, do they serve to distract us from the actual calamities that face us today? Do we use these calamities to relieve ourselves of responsibility for mowing the lawn? Perhaps it's easier to deal psychologically with imaginary threats to the planet, which are so obviously beyond our control, than with those more real and immediate threats that are very much more within our purview. Fortunately, although some people seem to get excited about predictions of the end of the world, I doubt that most people take them seriously. They still do mow their lawns. They continue to plan for their activities on the coming weekend after the world has ceased to be. They continue to invest in the stock market. Perhaps the fascination is just an echo of our primitive fears. in the face of a world that we scarcely understand. And perhaps alongside this, we'd like to be relieved of the burden of responsibility. We're not responsible if someone or something else is ultimately in control and deciding the fate of the world. Anyway, these kinds of apocalyptic ravings are always good for a laugh. They brighten an otherwise fairly mundane day, don't you think?